Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Ted Cruz traps this woke witness with one simple question, and her ridiculous response gets him unusually mad. But before we dive in, I want to give a quick shout out to our new sponsors over at Native Path. These folks understand how to help your health in the modern era, particularly with collagen, but more on that later. Now, let's get back into the video.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women,
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
I mean, what I can say is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition happened,
I'm going to try again.
The rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes/no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? Most people could answer this very simply. I'm curious if you're willing to do so.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just putting it into the context of the conversation that we're having. I think that there are definitions related to sex.
Is that a yes? So I'm trying to get a yes or no. I'm not trying to get a speech. Is there a difference between women and men?
I think that there are definitions for biological sex.
Okay, so you're not answering that. Let me ask you this question then. Why do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who wins?
Oh, I'm simply saying that that sex is
My
different
question,
than gender.
Why
and I do believe that women's sports have a great
exist?
value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right now.
Ms. Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
Why do women's sports exist?
I think that there are so many positive benefits to sports.
But
I mean,
why have a
we've talked
separate
about it here
category for
today.
women? If there's no difference between women and men, why to have women's sports?
I'm saying that there's a difference between sex and gender, and that the NCAA has rules in place, which they have for the last decade.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to enter into the record an article from Duke Law called Comparing Athletic Performances for the Best Elite Women to Boys and Men. And it goes through examining in 2017 the top records for women in the world in various track and field events. So, for example, in the 100-meter, the top record for women in the world was 10.71 seconds. Now, that record for the number one woman in the world in 2017 was, in the year 2017, broken by 124 boys under 18. In that same year, the record for the number one competing woman in the 100-meter dash in the world was broken by a total of 2,474 men. If the radical Democrat agenda to destroy girls' sports and women's sports succeeds, little girls will not have a chance to compete. So I ask unanimous consent that this article be entered into the record.
Y'all, this is a very easy answer. There is a difference between men and women. Yes, some men are feminine. Yes, some women are masculine. All right, there is a spectrum of that fluidity. This is not what we mean by gender, though. We are not asking how you swing. We are not asking what you do in the bedroom. We're asking, do you have male genes giving you testosterone if you are trying to enter women's sports? If the answer is yes, I'm sorry, you shouldn't compete. And it's a simple why. The Y chromosome. Double entendre. The Y chromosome gives us testosterone. And trust me, women, if you're watching this, testosterone makes us do dumb stuff. There's a reason y'all live longer than we do. And that's just it. There is a basic difference between men and women. And so the attempt to dismantle this basic ideology isn't a coincidence. This is a planned attempt. It's not a smart attempt, but it's an understandable one. So here's where it starts. You have your first wave of feminists trying to get basic and equal rights. Okay, understandable. Everyone should be equal in front of the law. Then you have your second wave. Maybe we should start pushing for more females in men's spaces. Okay, women are proving that they can do jobs like men can. Third wave, let's start really promoting this. And now we're in the fourth wave where it's essentially women are better than men and you should be ashamed of yourself if you think differently. Hey y'all, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our new sponsors, Native Path. Created by Dr. Chad out of Austin, Texas, he realized that there was something deeply wrong in this medical community. And instead of focusing on nutrition, they were just focused on serving big pharma. So he left and created this new company called Native Path. And what do they do over there? they sell something called collagen. Now, what is collagen? Well, it's not magic fairy dust. It's not this muscle milk. It's not calcium rich. Instead, it is an odorless, flavorless, dissolves completely in water powder that you can mix. And unlike iocane powder, this stuff has massive health benefits. It can help your bones, your joints, your ligaments, your skin, your hair follicles, even your fingernails. This stuff is absolutely packed with the nutrients that we lose so constantly in our modern diet. This stuff is a fantastic supplement, can help you live a healthier life. And if you go to this link down here below, you will find up to 45% off of certain products. That is how much Native Path cares about your health. So go check them out, link in the description below. And now, back to regularly scheduled programming. And so that's what has led to this issue of transgenders in sports. Because of the parallel idea of equality, we have to start asking ourselves, do we want equality of outcome or do we want equality of opportunity? I believe in the idea of equality under the law, and I believe that everyone should be able to make good decisions for themselves. There's a couple of times where you shouldn't make decisions for yourself, but this isn't about that. This is about something very biological. This isn't about freedoms. This is about logic. And logic dictates that, by and large, the vast majority, the 99% of men, have more muscle mass, our reflexes are faster, our eyesight is even faster. We have been built evolutionary by the hunter-gatherer society. We have evolutionary traits that benefit testosterone and benefit males in certain games of skill, and particularly when it comes to athletics. Whereas women simply don't have the muscle mass, they don't have the larger body. Men are typically taller as well. This is basic biology. It's okay to admit this. And by having women's sports, we have a fair ability for people to come and compete. It is not fair for someone who has had testosterone growing up competing in female spaces. It's simply not fair. And even Serena Williams, she had to go on, I think ESPN or CBS, she went on an interview and someone was saying, well, I don't understand why you aren't considered one of the top athletes ever. And Serena Williams just had to turn her head and simply say, I could not beat the 500th ranked female player in tennis. And tennis has been a fantastic metric for this. There was the famous Battle of the Sexes, I think back in the late 70s, early 80s, and I don't think the female player got more than a point. I think she might have won one match out of the 6 or 7 that they usually play. Yeah, John McEnroe, I believe that's his name. I'm not great on my tennis players. Also said about a decade and a half ago that the 200th ranked player could have beaten Serena Williams. And then later on, Serena Williams goes out and says the 500th ranked player could probably beat me. I can't match his speed. I can't match his skill. But where she does play well, she's dominant against other women because she's quite literally built differently. That is okay to point out. And yet we have feminists, we have liberals and leftists that want to make sports an equal place, when that's just not reality. There is no such thing as equality of outcome. And Ted Cruz understands this. I think Riley Gaines was at this hearing, and he wanted to point out to this person, this ridiculous liberal who just won't answer a simple question because she knows in her heart that if she admits this, the jig is up, the news is out, they finally found me. She can't admit to the fact that there are differences between men and women because in doing so, it would break her current worldview. And if she does that, she's going to be ostracized from others who try to participate in that worldview. So she is caught between a rock and a hard place, and before Congress, she can't answer a simple question in a yes or no fashion. It is just deeply, deeply weird and ultimately just illogical. And the biggest irony of them all is that means that Republicans care more about protecting women than Democrats do. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed this segment here on Politibro. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one, and until then, y'all have a good one.